We pulled up to our lake house after the first family vacation we'd had in years. My daughter was still laughing at something on her phone until she screamed. A demolition crew was smashing our home into splinters. They told me it was an order from the HOA that I owed them 70 grand in fines. I didn't owe them a dime. I wasn't even in their damn HOA. But they didn't just destroy a house, they ripped apart the place where my brother's ashes were spread. And Shelley Winrow, the smug little queen of Riverbend Creek, thought she had me beaten. She had no idea what I was about to do to her entire empire. The smell of dust and pine needles hung in the air as I slammed my truck door and sprinted across the gravel. The claw of the backhoe ripped into the wall where my daughter's bedroom used to be. I roared, waving my arms like a lunatic. "Stop! That's my house." The foreman just held up his clipboard, unimpressed. "Orders from the HOA, buddy. Paid for and signed." I grabbed the paper he shoved at me, my eyes catching a signature I knew too well, Shelley Winrow. 10 years she'd been trying to sink her claws into me. First the flagpole, then the dock, and now she'd finally gone for the kill. Sarah pulled me back before I did something I'd regret, and by sundown the crew was gone. All that was left was silence and a pile of broken memories. That night, sitting on the cracked front steps, I felt like the biggest failure of my life. I built this place to keep my family safe. My brother and I laid every stone by hand, and I couldn't even protect it from a plastic-smiled tyrant with a clipboard. I called the insurance company, no coverage. They said governmental action exclusion. I argued until I was hoarse, but the answer didn't change. I hung up staring at the rubble thinking, maybe Shelley had finally beaten me. For the first time I wondered if I should just walk away. Then Marissa called out. She was holding something small and bronze, dusty but intact. It was the plaque from our fireplace, Sergeant Matthew Brenner, USMC. My brother's name. My brother's sacrifice. She handed it to me with both hands like it was sacred, and in that moment the despair drained out of me. All that was left was steel. I whispered into the night. "You picked the wrong house." Shelley. I drove straight to the county records office. I knew where to look the original plat map, and there it was, in black and white, my parcel 5 acres marked exempt from all HOA covenants. Then I saw it, filed 2 years ago, a revised boundary map conveniently absorbing my land into the HOA. It was a forgery, pure and simple. Meeting minutes signed by Shelley and her pet board members, minutes that never happened. My stomach turned, but anger steadied my hands. They'd turned my life into a piece of paperwork hoping nobody would notice. I wasn't just going to fight back, I was going to burn their playbook. Kevin, an old friend who worked in the assessor's office, pulled me aside. "Jack, they've been trying this stunt for years. Makes the whole subdivision look more valuable if they claim your land. Shelley's nephew's the lawyer who rubber-stamped it. They thought you'd be too tired to fight. He didn't know me very well." By morning, I was sitting in the kitchen of Daryl Jensen, a retired fire inspector and Vietnam vet, staring at a mountain of HOA fines. 12 grand for tomato plants, 5,000 for a basketball hoop. This wasn't about lawns or bylaws. It was a shakedown. And Shelley had made me the example. But if she wanted me as a member, fine, I'd be the member she regretted. I found the daughter of the original developer and bought 12 swampy undeveloped lots inside the subdivision, cash closed in 48 hours. According to their own bylaws, each lot meant 1 vote. Overnight, I became the biggest voting bloc in Riverbend Creek. With Daryl's help, I rallied 19 households who were fed up with Shelley's tyranny. Together, we had the numbers to crush her. When we called a special meeting, Shelley fired off an email declaring it unauthorized and illegal. I hit reply, all with one line quoting her own bylaw, back to her. The clubhouse was packed that night. Shelley sat at the head table, Brent, the lawyer, nephew, whispering in her ear, smug as ever. She called the meeting to order her voice, syrupy sweet. "Mr. Brenner." "You have no right to speak. You're a delinquent member." I cut her off. "Actually, according to bylaw 7.2, I now own parcels 1 and 14 through 25. That gives me 13 votes. I dropped the stack of deeds onto the table with a thud. The room gasped. Her smirk faltered. Brent went pale. Then I pulled out the forged boundary map. This is the document you filed to justify destroying my home. A forgery. And here's a recording from your demolition crew foreman, orders from the HOA buddy signed by Shelley Winrow. I hit play on my phone, his gravelly voice echoing through the room. Shelley shot to her feet screaming, "Lies, all lies," but nobody was buying it. I raised my hand. I make a motion to remove Shelley Winrow as president of this HOA effective immediately and to refer all evidence to the sheriff's office. Daryl's voice thundered from the back. Seconded hands shot up across the room, 32-3. Her reign was over. Her face was a mask of disbelief as deputies stepped forward. They hadn't been called by me, they'd been watching since the forged documents came to light. "Ma'am, you need to come with us." The crowd parted. Shelley shrieked, but it was over. For the first time in a decade, her plastic smile cracked. But Shelley wasn't finished. A cornered animal is dangerous, and she was nothing if not rabid. Out on bail, she sent her enforcers to sabotage my property. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. Security cameras caught Donna, her clipboard-carrying goon, smashing my well pump with a crowbar. Another figure cut the power lines. Then I saw the wildlife cam footage, Shelley herself stepping out of an SUV, handing over the tools pointing toward my land. It was the smoking gun. The next morning, I walked into the sheriff's office with a thumb drive. By noon, Shelley and her cronies were back in custody this time for felony trespassing and conspiracy. Bail revoked. Done. With her empire in ruins, I made the final move. I called another meeting, but this time it wasn't about replacing Shelley. It was about ending the HOA altogether. I laid it out plain. This place doesn't need tyrants with bylaws. We can have a neighborhood watch, a shared maintenance fund, but no more fines, no more closed-door meetings. Every hand in the room went up. We filed the paperwork with the state, and Riverbend Creek Community Association ceased to exist. Just like that, Shelley's kingdom was wiped off the map. Her downfall wasn't a victory parade, it was quiet like a storm finally breaking. Fraud charges, civil suits, her house sold to cover debts. She went from queen of the cul-de-sac to a cautionary tale on the evening news. And me, I stood on the edge of the lake plaque in my hand, staring at the empty space where my house once stood. Shelley thought paperwork and bulldozers could erase me, but all she did was hand me the match. Sometimes the only way to beat a corrupt system is to tear it down to the studs.